Hey folks, happy Thursday. I hope you're having a great day. It feels like fall out there today. It is so beautiful outside. Middle Tennessee in June, 70-degree weather. You don't see that every day. So we're going to be doing a little bit of real estate Q&A today. And today we're going to be talking about new construction. And you all know, people who watch this regularly, you know, the reason that I do this is because Hafner Real Estate, our goal is to help you achieve your real estate goals. And the way we do that is by educating you, by teaching you things you need to know that can help you be a more effective consumer, to help you know what you need to know in order to make wise decisions for you and your family. So do us a favor, show you care, give us a share. If you're watching on Facebook, just hit the share button and share it with people in the comments. Tag somebody who can benefit from learning about this. If you're watching on YouTube, please share it there. Tell other people about it. I'm on a mission to help people understand real estate better, and I'm doing it one real estate live Q&A at a time. So today we're talking about new construction. Should I buy new construction, right? So new construction is one of those things that everybody thinks they want it, and not everybody can handle it. At least not everybody can handle a custom build, right? So let's talk about this for a minute. So if you're going to buy a house and there is a spec house out there that is new construction, that no problem whatsoever. You're buying a house that's already built. You might get a few selections, not a ton of stress in there. What I'm focusing on today is those of you who are thinking, I want to custom build my dream home. And I just want to tell you that before you do that, you need to slow down and think about whether or not that is the right move. It is not the right move for everybody. And here's why. When you are building a new home, actually, let me tell you a little story first before we do that. So a little analogy. And stick with me because this will all come together at the end, right? Back during when World War I started. Now, trust me, building a new home, new construction home is not like going to war, but the analogy works. So back when World War I started, it was the first mechanized, hey, Takesha, how are you today? So I'm just telling a story right now about how World War I is kind of like new construction. So stick with me and you'll hear this, right? So back when World War I started, it was the first truly mechanized warfare. Before World War I, people who went to war, young men who went to war, it was kind of an adventure. It was kind of something you went and did where you became a man, where you experienced some adventure and you went and sowed your wild oats, so to speak. And what happened was, when you went to war like that, back in the day before machine guns and mechanized warfare, not a lot of people got killed in warfare. You had relatively small armies who'd meet on the battlefield, they'd skirmish. There were a few people who died, of course, but not a whole lot died, and you did your thing, and then you went on your way and went back to your life the way you were before. And it was this romantic thing that young men went to do. They went off to war, and then they came back having experienced that adventure. Well, when World War I started, there were a whole bunch of young men who had that romantic idea of, I'm going to go off to war. And then they got to the battlefront, and there were machine guns and people were using horses and strategies from the 1800s for warfare to attack, and they were just getting mowed down. There were battles where tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of people were just mowed down by machine guns, just carnage and destruction and just awful. And so the whole idea, that whole romantic image of going to war was just destroyed, right? So new construction, a lot of people have this romantic vision of building a custom home as, oh, we're going to go to the site with our builder and we're going to have a wine and cheese picnic, and we're going to sit there, we're going to talk about our dreams for the home, and the builder is going to sit there with us, and we're going to go through and we're going to build this awesome custom home. Well, you're in for a shock if that's the way you're looking at building new construction. Building new construction, the way it works, if you're going to do a custom home, you have thousands upon thousands of decisions to make. If you don't make them fairly quickly and you're not fairly decisive with them, the whole thing's going to slow down. There's going to be periods of great frustration where nothing happens. If you happen to if you're building on land that's not a subdivision lot, let's say you buy some land, a couple acres where you want to build your dream home on that. Well, there's site work that needs to be done. When my wife and I built our custom home, we had a creek on the property and put a bridge in place to go over the creek to get to the house. And the county engineers came out and said, no, your bridge is all wrong. We had to pay $10,000 to build. We spent $12,000, $13,000 building a bridge just to get to the house. So expect that you're going to have more expenses than you thought. Make sure that it's just one of these things. It is not the romantic situation that most people think a custom home would be. What it is it's like a part-time job. You need to be out at that site every couple days at least, in some points of the process, every single day, to make sure things are going the way they need to make sure you're putting your eyes on things and seeing that stuff is not getting out of control or going different than what you expected. And again, with all the different moving parts put together to make a new construction house, to make a custom build home, you'll just be amazed at the number of things that you can find that go, I don't want to say go wrong, but go different than what you expected. If you're building a custom plan that builder has never built before, there will be things that come together in that plan that you don't know before it starts being built that they're going to be a problem. But when they're there and they're real, well, someone outside my door here is drilling something, which is a nice little sound to add to this, give you the idea of building, I guess, right? So you're going to have things that go wrong where you're going to have to make adjustments and fix things. There might be added expense. You have to make all kinds of decisions, right? If the weather's bad, it might be delayed. You could take a custom build could take anywhere from 4 or 5 months to a year, depending on the builder, depending on how the weather is, depending on the conditions, all that sort of thing. So if you decide to get into it, know it is going to be a difficult process where you have to be very detailed. Know that you have to be in really good communication with your builder. You have to know your builder, and you have to spend time with him or her, and you have to get along with them so that the two of you can work together, right? That is really annoying. They're like right outside my door drilling during my Facebook Live. This is not good. So I'm gonna get closer to the cameras because the microphone's on the camera. I wanna make sure you hear me, right? So I'm sorry that my face is gigantic right now. So when you're building, here's some key tips, right? Interview several builders. Make sure you talk to somebody. Make sure you talk to all of them. Make sure you talk to people who have built with them. Make sure you go look at homes they have built so you can get a comfort level and feel good. You want to go with someone who has good recommendations. You want to go with someone who you feel comfortable with, who you have good rapport with, where you feel like the two of you work together well. You want to just be able to feel comfortable with that builder. That's number one. Number two, you want to know what the process is for making changes, for if you go out to the site and you see something that's not the way it should be, how you approach that. In some cases, I've seen new construction things just go off the rails because the buyer would go out to the house. The builder had no protocol for if they saw something wrong, and that buyer would be stopping the subcontractors from doing work because they saw something they didn't agree with or they thought was wrong, and it just created chaos and delays and extra expense for everybody. So make sure you know the protocol for talking to your builder to make sure that there's not a problem, right? So you want to make sure that you have good rapport with the builder, that you trust him, that he comes recommended. Number two, you know the protocol for if there's issues. Number three, you want to know specifically what is included with this building plan in writing on paper. And going back to this though, there's so much stuff in a new build that you can't put it all on paper. That's why you have to have a builder you know, like, and trust, so that you feel good that if you do run into a problem, because there will be issues it is not going to be smooth sailing all the way through that. So there will be issues where you're going to have to sit down with that builder, and the two of you are going to have to come to a solution because of an issue that's going on. So you want to know on paper as much as you can of what is included and what is not included. If you are the one who's getting things, like maybe you're going and picking out the lighting elsewhere, maybe you are getting appliances elsewhere, you want to be able to know what your deadlines are, when those things have to be delivered, so that you're not delaying construction by delaying on those choices. You want, you just have to be very, very detailed. You have to go out there on a regular basis. Once the building is framed and they're in there working every day, you want to be out there almost every day just looking at things, because if something gets too far along, that's a problem, and you got to undo a bunch of stuff to get at it, you may not be able to undo it. Here is a big tip for you if you are going to be doing custom build new construction. Get somebody objective to go out with you to the house on a regular basis. Don't get all people who are emotionally involved. Don't get your best friends. If your sister or brother just gets you wound up and get all emotional with you, they are not the right person for this job. But you need someone who is unemotional, who is a little, maybe a little detached, who can walk through that house with you and say, you know what, that's probably a little over the top to be upset about that. You know what, that's probably not something that you should be complaining about or worried about, because every little thing it's such an emotional process to build a home like that every little thing becomes ginormous, just becomes larger than life, where every little thing, like let's say for instance, they put the wrong knob on your bathroom vanity in your spare bathroom, right? And the wrong knob is on there. Oh my gosh, this becomes like the biggest disaster ever, because we spent so much time picking those knobs and we just love them, and this is horrible. We can't have the wrong knob. So sometimes little things are truly little things that you need to let go, but it's very difficult to let go of them when it's your house and it's your dream and it's what you wanted. And I'll give you a perfect example of that. When I'm a real estate professional, and I've been doing this for a long time, and I help many people buy and sell homes, and I'm usually very, very objective, and I am the voice of reason when it comes to people making decisions on a home. And I can be that person who doesn't get emotional. Well, when we were building our house, my wife and I, there were times where I'm dealing directly with the builder with no filter in between. That's why it's good to have an agent, because that agent can be your filter between you and the builder, so that they can help calm you down if you're being emotional for reasons that you shouldn't be, right? So when it came time to do walkthroughs, getting near the end of the process, I was smart enough to realize that the emotion of this being my house had clouded my judgment, where I had to bring another agent from my office in to walk through the house with me to say, yeah, Joe, that's not something you should be worried about, because I did not want to be that unreasonable client who is complaining about every little thing, whether it's a big deal or not, right? And you don't want to be that person either. You want to be someone who is reasonable, someone who is able to understand what is a legitimate complaint and what is something, let's think about when you're building new construction, you're using materials that were once live things. Wood is not a perfect thing. You can't cut out wood so that there's never any bow in it, so it's perfectly straight with perfect angles to everything. You just can't do that. It's just impossible, because it's not steel. It's not something that's being forged. It's a natural product. And everything in that house, there's lots of pieces like that where you're going to have minor imperfections here and there. There's an industry standard for builders of the amount of imperfection that they can have. Todd, how you doing today? There's an industry standard for builders of the amount of imperfections they can have in their new construction. And so you want to know what those are so that you are not being a homezilla. You know, you heard of a bridezilla? There's a homezilla, where those are people who build a new home and just drive the builder crazy because they're worried about every little detail, to the point where it slows down construction, where it causes problems, where the house just slows to halt and everybody hates each other by the time the new construction is over. So back to what I was saying, you want that impartial person. A real estate agent is a great person to be that, but you want that impartial person to go out to the house with you to give you feedback on what is something worth complaining about, what is something not worth complaining about, what is something that can be fixed, what is something that can't be fixed or you shouldn't ask to be fixed. And like I said, when I built my own house, I had that emotion involved there where I needed to bring someone else with me to help me with that. And I'm a professional. So if you're not a professional, get that impartial person to help you. So that's, if you have questions, put them down in the comments. I come back through and see what people have asked. Private message me. I'm happy to answer questions on that. And if you have other real estate questions, let me know. We'll answer them on a future real estate Q&A. But like I always say, show us you care, give us a share this with someone else who you believe would benefit from it. Tag them in the comments so they come and take a look at it. I am on a mission to help the average consumer know more about real estate so they make wise decisions and do the best they can for them and their family when they're buying a house, selling a house, investing, flipping, and refinancing, whatever it is having to do with real estate. Whatever it is having to do with real estate, I want them to know what they're doing so they make wise decisions. So please share this with your friends and family, and let me know what questions you have, and we'll see you again next time. Hope you have a great day and enjoy this beautiful weather out there while we can. Before you know it, it's going to be 95 and super humid, and we're all going to be miserable wishing for weather like today. Have a great day.